Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger is facing some backlash for being one of the few House Republicans that voted to impeach Donald Trump. So now he decided to share with the New York Times a letter that he received from some Republicans, even his family, who happen to be big mad. And so I love this because this was a letter signed by 11 Kinzinger family members, which read, in part, quote, "What a disappointment you are to us and to God. God is very disappointed in you. You have embarrassed the Kinzinger family name. How can you call yourself a Christian when you joined the devil's army?" Like, literally, that's what it says. "Believing in abortion. President Trump is not perfect, but neither are you or any of us for that matter. Well, that's for sure. It is not for me to judge or be judged, but Mr. Trump is a Christian." Well, it sounds like you're judging. It just sounds like you're judging here. All right. That's great. So now, look, the reason I'm talking about this is not because I care at all about the family or feelings of Adam Kinzinger. I don't really care. To me, Kinzinger did the bare minimum, which is to vote to convict Donald Trump or to impeach Donald Trump. As you know, the Senate handles conviction. But look, if you were a senator, you probably would have voted to convict. Let's be fair. He's, again, one of the few House Republicans that said, yeah, impeach the MFer, right? And he's been speaking out quite a bit. Again, I still consider that to be a minimum because, come on, like, he's an obvious fascist. Trump is. So it's the least that you can do. And it's not really that high a bar to cross that admitting that the former president incited a deadly mob. But of course, for Republicans, the bar is really low. It's incredibly low. I mean, this is really just an issue of, hey, are insurrections fueled by unhinged conspiracy theories? Are they bad? And if you vote in the affirmative and you're like, yes, they're bad, I don't think that you should get a ton of credit for saying that. But again, understand that where we are in today's Republican Party, just admitting that and saying that, oh, yeah, maybe the president is at fault for inciting this deadly mob is enough to get you censured. Really. And not only that, but apparently canceled by your family, which is crazy. And so, well, understand the Republicans, they're broken. The Republican Party is broken. This is far beyond disagreements between, tax rates and involvement of government in business and in our lives in general. No, this is full on QAnon conspiracy theory nuttery. Marjorie Taylor Greene is indicative of what the new future of the Republican Party actually looks like. All right. Again, Marjorie Taylor Greene believes in giant Jewish space lasers that cause wildfires. She has supported in the past QAnon and conspiracies, as well as violent rhetoric against Democrats. And by the way, she also worships Trump, as they do. This is who they are. This is the Republican Party. So now I want to read you more from that letter. And this is hilarious. I love this. "You should be very proud that you have lost the respect of Lou Dobbs, Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Greg Kelly, etc. And most importantly, in our book, Mark Levin and Rush Limbaugh and us." You know what? That is a list I want to be on. It's like, I want to be canceled by all of those people. There's no one here that in this story that I don't want to be canceled by. I think it'd be an honor to lose the respect of Lou Dobbs. Fuck every single one of those people. All right, that I just listed off. But understand, for Republican voters, they're like, oh, Mark Levin speaking the gospel. I watched this YouTube video. I know this is a weird aside, but I'm going to go on it anyway. Where somebody took Master Shake from like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and they dubbed in Mark Levin, and it was just hilarious. I don't know why it was funny, but I was like, yeah, this fits. I don't know why, but it fits. It's hilarious. But anyway, I know it's stupid, but it's almost as stupid as listening to Mark Levin, like seriously and non-ironically. And so, like, these guys, they sit in their $1 million studios and they complain about how they and their fellow rich people, are getting screwed over, how they're getting canceled, right, to their massive audiences. And they're also saying, well, we're looking out for you guys, the regular people. No, they're not. They're looking out for themselves, their bosses, and of course the donors, and all that stuff. And really the problem here are the immigrants and the governments and the woke SJWs. So that's the real problem. No, they're not. No, they're not. And here's the other thing, right? So I keep reporting, I keep talking about it's, even though the Washington Post tried to like put out this ridiculous article where they're like, oh, Trump supporters that stormed the Capitol, they had economic anxiety. No, they didn't. No, they weren't poor. They didn't need the $2,000 stimmy checks. No, a lot of the people that went to the Capitol were right-wing, ultra-right-wing, alt-right, like live streamers that were live streaming their own crimes. There were people that were, Mexico Jenny that flew in on her private jet and is a florist, a small, a business owner, CEO. You had people that there were former, ex-military members, veterans, police officers that were off duty in that crowd. This was not a crowd of poor people. It's this, and it's ridiculous to say that this is about economic anxiety. It's not. They weren't looking for their stimulus checks, okay? No, they were there to overthrow a certification to install Donald Trump. And that's what it was. That's the entire thing. So it's what it is. What really drove them is not economic anxiety. It's white, fragility is one of them, and a massive fear of change. And that's what drives reactionaries. Okay. And so now Kinzinger had a response to this, by the way. Here's what he told the New York Times. Mr. Kinzinger said he has little desire to reach out to the loudest critics in his district's Republican organizations, whom he hasn't spoken to in years and said hold little sway over their voters. Oh, if you only knew, man. The letter writers and his family, he said, suffer from brainwashing from conservative churches that have led them astray. I hold nothing against them, but I have zero desire to feel the need to reach out and repair that. That is 100% on them to reach out and repair, and quite honestly, I don't care if they do or not. Well, look, they need to get deprogrammed. That's for one, right? They need to get deprogrammed. If you're not going to try to do that, I mean, yeah, you could leave them alone, but this fascism is going to continue to fester in Republican voters. That's what they're about. All right. And so, no. That said, good on him for doing so. I'd still never advocate voting for a Republican, but he's not wrong about the churches especially, which, look, if you're shilling for Republicans and you're a preacher, then tax your ass. You need to get taxed. Tax the churches. You want to play the games, pay to play, baby. Tax the churches if you're going to get involved in politics. And that's it. So now, this entire thing, this cancel culture going on in Republicans right now, it's an example of the pressure that Republicans are feeling. They know the party is gone. The people are gone in this direction. They know what they've helped create and foster as a party. Kinzinger doesn't want anything to do with that. That's fine. But a deal of Republicans are too scared to come out against Trump. In fact, I want to show you a video here of House Impeachment Manager Stacey, Plaskett? Now, she's going to talk to CNN about this. Let's take a look.
It's a low bar, but I guess you need something to hope on if you're going to do the job.
Yeah.
So,
listen, you know, I had senators, even after we presented, who stopped me in the hallway, Republicans, who said that we had made the case, but yet they were going to vote to acquit the president. And when I would even offer them, you know, potentially a get out of jail free card by saying, well, why don't you vote to convict in the first instance and then vote not vote to disqualify him, which only requires a majority. You know, the response was, well, I don't think you'll get to 17, so I'll never get to that second disqualification vote, and I don't want to stand out on a limb by myself.
yeah, that sounds exactly what's echoed all through their ranks.
Weak. Sad. Pathetic. There's a word, but I've decided not to use that word anymore. Because I don't want to kink shame, and also it seems to be banned on Twitch. So I'm going to avoid saying that word, but you probably can think of what word that is. But that's so sad that these Republicans are like, we know the right thing, well, we're still not going to do it. Because it turned out they actually care more about their careers than doing the right thing. But that, of course, unfortunately, is politics. They've got no backbone. Most politicians don't have a backbone when it comes to actually, you know, anything, you know, standing up for anything that might be controversial to the voters. And it's always been their own power over everything else. And that's the majority of the Republican Party, and certainly a lot of the Democrats as well. And so, unfortunately, they are nothing more, Republicans are nothing more than a reactionary, conspiracy-driven party. And I think the country would be way better off if they never even held any sort of institutional power ever again. And then we can actually go on to fixing the Democrats. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.